Life energy has been known to many civilizations throughout history and has been given many different names. Plato called it Psyche, the animating principle of a human body, or the vital spirit, the soul, the source of life and consciousness. Another word used by the ancient Greek philosophers was Pneuma. This was used by the Neoplatonists like Plotinus and Proclus, and also by Galen and the Stoics. It literally means air, wind, breath, life, soul, angel, divine inspiration, or genius. And if you read the New Testament in the original Greek, you'll find both of these words, psyche and pneuma, used to refer to the human soul. In the Old Testament, the Hebrew word Ruach is used for a spirit, the human soul. It literally means wind or air. And if you read the Bible in the ancient Greek, you'll also find the word to pneuma to Hagion, or pneuma Hagion, which is the Holy Spirit. So you have this identification of the life energy or the soul in a human being is also somehow related to God. This is an interesting idea. And you find a similar concept in the Vedas. They talk about a life energy called Prana, which is the life force, the vital principle, spirit, energy, principle of life, vigor, or soul. And they just say Prana is Brahman, that the life force that's in a human being is the same thing as God, or the supreme ultimate principle. So that's something to think about. There's other researchers in Western civilization that have given names to this life energy. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin was a French Jesuit priest and a paleontologist who talked about radial energy, which he described in contradistinction to tangential energy, which is thermodynamic entropic energy. The radial energy was a life force energy that caused syntropy, or the opposite of entropy. It caused the evolution of more and more complex and sophisticated forms of life through time. And he identified it as coming from a higher dimension, as it were. Franz Mesmer talked about Lebensmagnetismus, or animal magnetism. It literally means life magnetism or living magnetism. The life energy its dimensionality may actually be related to the dimensionality of a magnetic field. There was an Austrian physician named Wilhelm Reich who talked about a life energy called Orgone, which he said flowed not only through living organisms, but also through the atmosphere and through interstellar space. And you could manipulate its flow in the atmosphere to actually modify the weather and cause it to rain, which he did a number of times. And in China and Japan, you have this concept of Qi, or Yuanki, or Genki, which is a life force energy. The same character also means healthy, like are you well? Are you healthy? Are you doing good? In Japanese they say Genki, like are you doing good? And you say Genki desu, means yes, I'm well. It means strength, vigor, vitality, vital energy, or that you're healthy. And it also, these same characters are used to mean the primordial or fundamental force that permeates through all matter and life. This, in German, they call it Urkraft, the primordial original energy, fundamental cosmic energy. And in Korean, they use different characters, but it's pronounced almost exactly the same. They say Wangi instead of Yuanki, and it's the same concept: fundamental energy, primary life force, psycho-biophysical energy, or vital energy. It's life force energy. I've also seen it translated as quintessential psycho-biophysical energy of the supreme harmony. So a lot of different civilizations, both in the East and West, have known about this life energy for a long, long time, for thousands of years. And you can actually quantify it. It's actually very, very simple. It fits right into Maxwell's equations. All it is it's something that is induced by a time-varying electric potential. You have a magnetic field is induced by a time-varying electric field, and the life energy is induced by a time-varying electric potential. It's actually very, very simple. If we look at what Plato had to say, he talked about there's two realms of existence, the noaton and the astheton, or this is translated as the intelligible realm and the sensible realm. And the sensible realm is what you perceive with your senses. It's just the common everyday world of matter that you can see and hear and touch. And it exists within the flow of time. It's always changing. But the noaton, the intelligible realm, it's something you can perceive with your mind, with your intellect. And that exists outside of time and eternity. And that's where this life energy comes from, what Plato called Psyche. And it enters into the sensible realm. It projects down and acts upon the sensible realm. But it's actually coming from outside of time. The Greek philosophers would say that it participates the noaton, that Psyche participates the noaton. And you have an analogous idea in the Vedas that there's this life energy, Prana, that you experience in your common everyday waking existence. But that life force energy that makes your body be alive is actually the same thing as Brahman, the supreme ultimate principle that exists outside of time and space. And in Korea, there is a popular uprising in the 19th century called Donghak, which was inspired by someone who meditated for 49 days and was visited by a celestial messenger from the 7 stars in the north, and basically gave the same message, that the Yuanki, the life energy that flows through your body, is actually no different than the cosmic energy that created the whole universe. So this is life. This is what we actually are. You have a soul, and the soul is what you really are. When your body dies, you go on living as a soul. The soul or life energy flows through your body and causes it to be alive. And it's possible to construct an instrument and engineer this life energy. You can actually build something that the life energy will flow through, just the way it flows through a cat or a human being or a tree. The life energy can be engineered using just ordinary classical electrodynamics. It's induced by a time-varying electric potential, just like a magnetic field is induced by a time-varying electric field. Here's a picture of an instrument through which the life energy will flow. These are just concentric iron cylinders, and the geometry is a geometric series, geometric sequence, based on what Euclid called the extreme and mean ratio, which was rediscovered over 1,000 years later. They called it the golden ratio. But this is it's 1 plus the square root of 5 divided by 2. And if you want to make a geometric sequence, this is kind of the ratio or the logos par excellence for making a geometric sequence, because it has this special property that if you add together any 2 consecutive terms in the sequence, they'll add up to the next term. And that's something that happens only when you use the extreme and mean ratio, or the golden ratio. This becomes significant when you have waves heterodyning. If you have waves mixing in a non-linear medium, and the frequencies of the 2 waves are terms in this geometric sequence, then when they heterodyne, they'll create the next and previous terms in the sequence. So you get this recursive process going on, where the waves themselves will interact to create more and more terms of this geometric sequence.